this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas.
Charging and forget to turn the Bluetooth on. Wondering why it takes so long.
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Melissa.
Melissa. I knew it was an M, but my mind just. Okay.
The time is 10 a.m.
Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Brandy, and I'm here with Melissa. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
So we have the wonderful neighbor, Woodland Heights resident Becky Volz, named Citizen of the Year. From helping individuals to larger city-wide neighborhood initiatives, Volz earns respect for making improvements and building community with grace and tenacity. They show a picture of her here in the meeting rooms where they meet. A North Springfield neighborhood is having a moment. A new Reed Academy will open this fall at Atlantic Street and Lynn Avenue. In addition to housing nearby 6th to 8th graders, the school will be a magnet for students interested in performing arts. The rebuilt middle school brings improvements to Lafayette Park across the street. Springfield Public Schools will add a football field and track, and the Springfield Greene County Park Board will use more than $1.3 million of Springfield sales tax revenue for new tennis and pickleball courts, playground enhancements, ADA walkways, landscape improvements, and other upgrades. To the west, past the revitalization and active Betty and Bobby Allison Dream Center, is the buzz that a Blighton church will be renovated as part of a commercial project. And to the south, the resurgence of Commercial Street has fueled the restoration of the historic Jefferson Avenue Bridge. Its new LED lights were switched on last weekend during the Route 66 related activities. That footbridge will lead from the bustling C Street over 7 railroad tracks and into the Woodland Heights neighborhood, one of Springfield's oldest residential areas. They have a picture of the bridge lit up. It's pretty. But that neighborhood is not just seeing new monuments from all those surrounding improvements. Thanks to the persistence and empathy of Becky Volz, a longtime resident, the neighborhood has its own monument that was built in years before any of those projects got started. I think it's important that people understand how selfless she is, said Chance Paris, a resident and secretary of the Woodland Heights Neighborhood Association. She really is working nonstop, and there are no thoughts of self-agreementism with Becky. Everything really is about helping those around her, like helping her neighbors and helping the less fortunate. That is her only concern, and it's a pure, beautiful thing. Volz has redefined what it means to be a neighbor in Springfield. For more than a decade, Volz has earned a reputation for helping people with grace and tenacity, whether it's addressing one person's needs or mobilizing larger neighborhood projects. From helping people improve their homes to organizing new events and even serving on citywide neighborhood initiatives, Volz has earned a reputation for getting things done. Her work has earned her the title of Citizen of the Year by the Springfield Daily Citizen. Citizen of the Year. Volz was chosen by the Daily Citizen's Board of Directors from among 17 nominations made by Daily Citizen readers. The award recognizes an individual or couple who demonstrates good citizenship through community service, active involvement in public affairs, or taking responsibility for solving a community problem. Volz was nominated separated by Paris and David Burton. The Citizen of the Year Award is sponsored by Inkburst Studios, a Springfield custom apparel printer. In recognition of Volz, Inkburst will make a $1,500 donation to the Woodland Heights Neighborhood Association. The award is one of 5 to be presented at the Daily Citizen's Distinguished Citizen Award reception, which is set for Tuesday, May 19th from 4 to 6 in the second floor gallery at the Galois Theater. General admission tickets are available for $50, with VIP tickets, which include an added $50 donation to support the Daily Citizen's nonprofit mission, available for $100. Space is limited. Tickets must be purchased by May 12th. Reserve your tickets today through Eventbrite. The presenting sponsor of the Daily Citizen Distinguished Citizen Award is O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Others to be recognized at the May 19th event: Annie Bush, retired director of the Springfield Greene County Library District, will receive the Distinguished Public Servant Award. Lisa Farmer, retired executive director of Harmony House, will receive the award for Catalyst for Good Individual. The Galois Center for Arts and Entertainment will be recognized with the award for Catalyst for Good Nonprofit Organization. The recipient of the Emerging Leader Award will be announced soon. Getting started in volunteerism. Voights lives in one of many Victorian and Craftsman's era homes in the neighborhood. The Grant Avenue house where she lives was built in 1918, and her father bought it in sight unseen in 1962. She lived in it until she got married, moved to Nashville and Orlando. After her father died in the 80s, she returned to the home in the 1990s to care for her mother and manage her father's writing and publishing ministry. Her father gave her lessons about how to be a neighbor. After serving in the Marines, he earned a degree from Central Bible Institute and became a preacher. He was a mentor, and he was training a lot of young people, Volz said. He bought up a bunch of houses around our neighborhood to help people get their start. And I think that's where my roots still nurture me. He had a heart and a love for people, for building community, and for supporting families. And he did that by getting properties and rehabbing them. Volz has worked as an agent for actors and models, as well as Walt Disney Imagineering. Once she returned to Missouri, she worked with her father's publishing arm and as an estimator for a construction company. She has a family of 4 children, 9 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. But it wasn't until she took guardianship of her oldest granddaughter that she dived into volunteering. At an open house for the Hillcrest High School, she got recruited in 2008 to serve in the school's PTA. My intent was to be as close to my granddaughter as possible, to support her through her high school years, Foltz said, and that got me involved with a lot of things. She was in band. We did all the band things together. We did a lot of fundraising. Her work with her Hillcrest PTA led to her joining the Springfield Council of PTAs, she said, and she ran the gamut with that group. That gave her many contacts throughout the city and school community, including the Woodland Heights Neighborhood Association. Voight joined the group in 2010 as a board member, working with Phyllis Ferguson after serving on the membership committee, and then as a secretary. She has been the president for about 5 years now. She's been responsible for helping grow the associate's profile and presence. An example is Dirty Day, a garden-themed event held in Lafayette Park that offers a plant exchange, birdhouse painting, vendors, and more. This year's event, set for May 30th, includes a 5K run and walk. An unpaid full-time job. Volt loves working to benefit a neighborhood where she grew up. She remembers walking to Commercial Street during its previous heyday. The Woodland Heights neighborhood is not exactly an easy neighborhood, however. Some residents rent properties that are not well cared for by either the tenant or property owner. Other residents struggle to afford the cost of needed renovations and repairs. Volts tours the area regularly, on the lookout for how she can help. Paris said Volts keeps a stack of the latest issues of Springfield Neighborhood News published by the city to pass out to people she meets and invites them to the next association meeting. The woman works constantly without pay, in these volunteer positions just to do anything that she thinks will improve people's lives, Paris said. Just in our neighborhood, I'm more than confident she is working 60 hours a week, whether that's calling neighbors or sending emails. A particular talent of Voight's is navigating through the different layers of city departments, staying persistent until answers are found. She has developed many relationships with people across the city. David Burton, County Engagement Specialist with the University of Missouri Extension, said Volts has a stick-it-to-your attitude he admires. She has been in it for the long haul, Burton said. It's easy to have one bad experience and just step back and quit, but she has been committed. That's really important because longevity and the institutional knowledge and the relationship she brings by sticking with it, she has developed some expertise on community efforts. Persistence is important for ensuring things can improve, and that is a quality that Volt said the neighborhood had before her. The lights around the track at the park are a perfect example. It was dark, and there was a lot of crime going on, Volt said. Neighbors began to say that we have to have lights. We hounded the city enough about it that we got lights, which changed a lot because the crime went away. When neighbors see an issue and they reach out for help and they are persistent, you have to try. Paris said Volz also has a gift for cultivating leadership in others. Paris is now the association's secretary, thanks to Volz's gift for building others. He moved to the neighborhood with his husband shortly before COVID began. At first, they had problems getting settled in. We ended up needing a lifeline when we moved in the neighborhood. We had some problems with some homophobic neighbors who didn't really want us there, Paris said. Becky and other neighborhood association members reached out to us and told us we were wanted in this place, and that's how I became activated. Volz praised Paris for a website he created. SGF Neighborhood Tools serves as an answer point for commonly asked questions, instructing users directly where to take issues. We learned from a neighbor saying they have a need, and then he has the skill to design it and develop it and share it out. Volz said he is really good at telling a story and explaining things. Volz Up Home at Community Building is felt across the entire city. She is the chair of the Neighborhood Advisory Council, a city-based group that increases communication between neighborhood associations and city staff. She is also a board member of the Restore Springfield, a nonprofit that offers grants to homeowners for exterior improvements. That nonprofit seeks to turn the tide against abandoned houses and absentee landlords, as well as adding crucial living spaces for families. Volz has been a champion for people seeking to improve their space, Burton said. That's important for Burton, who champions the idea of neighborhoods as ways to improve quality of life. Over the years, I've been really impressed by her commitment to strengthening neighborhoods and what I've seen as empowering residents, Burton said. She has developed some expertise on some community efforts and had to tackle some challenging things along the way. As the area around the neighborhood rises, Volz and association leaders have no moments of relaxation coming. In addition to current activities, the association recently became the outright owner of the Charlie Knorr Community Center, a small historic building in need of work. What keeps Volz going, however, is that her neighbors are her friends. It's easy to keep up work when your friends are beside you, she said. The one thing I really, really appreciate about this group of neighbors is the neighborhood, is the friendship that we developed. Volz said, our board gets together to do things socially. It's not all, let's do a board meeting for an hour, then we're done for a month. This group isn't like that. It's like family. It's by Joe Halsdale. Joe Halsdale is the education reporter for the Springfield Daily Citizen. Halsdale has more than 2 decades of experience reporting in the Ozarks with the Joplin Globe, Christian County Headliner, News, and 417 Magazine. You can contact him at 417-837-3671 or at jhasdale@springfielddailycitizen.org.
This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Missouri State AMA ranks among top 25 marketing chapters worldwide by Janice Reeser, Springfield News-Leader. Missouri State University's American Marketing Association chapter has been ranked among the top 25 out of 344 chapters worldwide, marking a significant achievement for the group. The recognition was announced at the American Marketing Association International Collegiate Conference, held in March in Chicago, according to a community announcement. This milestone reflects years of effort, growth, and student leadership. It's an incredible achievement earned through years of effort from students who kept building and pushing forward, Jennifer Scuba, faculty advisor and associate professor of marketing, said in the announcement. There's a picture of a group of students and the faculty advisor, and the caption says, Missouri State University's American Marketing Association chapter has been ranked among the top 25 out of 344 chapters worldwide. The recognition was announced at the American Marketing Association International Collegiate Conference held in March in Chicago. It's provided by Missouri State University. AMA Chapter's Remarkable Journey. The top 25 ranking is determined through a comprehensive annual report that evaluates chapter performance across various areas, including professional development, community impact, fundraising, and member engagement. Since SCIPA began advising the chapter in 2019, both she and the students have aimed to reach the top 25. However, the journey was not without challenges. After COVID, we had just 2 members. but we kept rebuilding, and now we have more than 30 active members, Skiba said in the announcement. The chapter's consistency across all areas set it apart. From hosting professional development events to organizing community initiatives, students demonstrated a well-rounded and impactful program. Sage Cannon, chapter president and marketing junior, expressed pride in the accomplishment. This was something we had been working toward for so long, Cannon said in the announcement. To finally see it happen, it showed that all the hard work paid off. Success beyond rankings. In addition to the top 25 recognition, Missouri State students achieved strong results across multiple challenges at the conference, including the marketplace simulation, website competition, and perfect pitch. In the marketplace simulation, the Missouri State team placed third among 70 teams. The event challenged students to identify market opportunities, design products, and analyze data in a fast-paced team environment, making strategic decisions over several hours to maximize profitability. Team members included Jack Branch, freshman, marketing management, Elliot McCoy, junior, supply chain, logistics, and operations management, Rylan Peppergerdes, sophomore, marketing research, Sarah Shibley, senior, advertising and promotion, Gabriel Smith, senior, marketing management. In the website competition, advertising and promotion sophomore, Perla Oxlach, received an honorable mention for her work on the chapter's website. Electronic Arts junior Lila Dothage earned perfect pitch finalist honors by delivering a 90-second pitch, positioning herself as a candidate for a role at Gartner. The conference offered students opportunities to network with industry professionals, connect with peers from other universities, and apply classroom knowledge in real-world settings. AMA helped me build confidence and push beyond what I thought I could do, Cannon said in the announcement. It's not just about the work, it's about the people, the experience, and the growth. The story was created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. Journalists were involved in every step of the information gathering, review, editing, and publishing process.
This is Springfield Daily Citizen. I use it as a trade school. John Goodman credits MSU for opening his mind and career. It's a picture of John Goodman with a Missouri State background. John Goodman paused Thursday when he asked about the Missouri State University amphitheater that bears its name. I didn't want it on here, the Emmy Award winner and veteran Hollywood actor said. Located behind Craig Hall, the John Goodman Amphitheater is where MSU's Trent Theater is held. The summer shows have been a key part of the program since 1963. He's not mad about the naming, just differential. I thought there was a lot more deserving people, Goodman said during a media availability hosted by MSU, but I'll take it. It's nice and kind of unbelievable. I learned a lot right there at that tent pad. Goodman is a key component in the engine revving Springfield's Route 66 Centennial Kickoff Celebration. The actor and MSU alumnus was featured in Thursday's Today broadcast and is the MC for Thursday's night's kickoff concert featuring Little Big Town. He'll be featured in the MSU's float during Friday's parade as well. Goodman is one of the biggest celebrities to come from Springfield. He graduated from MSU in 1975, launching a decades-long acting career. The role of Father Dan Connor in ABC's Roseanne and collaborations with the Coen brothers in films such as Raising Arizona and The Big Lebowski helped launch his award-winning career. In a wide-ranging interview with several area reporters, he answered questions about some of his favorite projects, whether he has met Springfieldian Brad Pitt once, thanks to a meeting with mutual friend George Clooney, and what actors can do now to prepare for their futures, build themselves up. He said Thursday that this is grateful for him for his time in Springfield because it gave him directions for what was possible. He has returned to Springfield often, most notably to help MSU launch its largest capital fundraising campaign to date. They got a picture of him, people in the background. It's not like I feel like I owe them, but I do. My life came together here, Goodman said. I was drifting. I went to college just as a time filler. I didn't really have much of a purpose. He dabbed in theater during high school in Afton, Missouri, but earned a scholarship in 1970 to play football at Missouri State. An injury kept him from playing during the game, but the theater department gave him direction. He said he got lucky because MSU's theater department was excellent at that time. Theater connected him to the larger world, he said. With dramatic arts fueling his fire, he burned through a variety of subjects, including history, English, music, and even a little bit of math. He attended alongside future stars, including Kathleen Turner and Tess Harper, and graduated in 1975. This was perfect for me because I used it as a trade school, Goodman said. I didn't pay attention to anything until I got into the theater department, and then all of a sudden I wanted to learn. I lucked out when the teachers I had because they made me curious. They made me want to know where everything came from. His career was spanned decades across multiple medias. He has appeared in movies, TV shows, stage productions, and more, turning in iconic, unforgettable, relatable performances. One of the keys to success was learned in Springfield, the ability to identify with others and talk to them. He didn't stay on campus. He ventured around town and even traveled the Mother Road, using it anytime he needed to travel. Goodman said he loves getting to know people, and Springfield gave him a chance to meet so many. He found the difference between people on campus and off campus particularly fascinating, not as a town and gown rivalry, he said, but there were differences between those he met across campus and those he met across the city. That variety prepared him for the blunt brutality of show business, he said. The variety of people that you're going to meet, because we had all kinds at that university, Goodman said, and there were all kinds of people out there in this wonderful town, too. So that's it, knowing people, getting to meet people. And this is a great place for it because this is a great city and a great area.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Springfield man previously convicted of murder back behind bars, accused of hatchet attack. Christopher Michael Salisbury was convicted of second-degree murder for the 2004 stabbing death of his then-girlfriend's dad. He was released from prison in 2023. Salisbury is now accused of attacking a man with a hatchet by Jackie Rewald. There's a picture of a Springfield police car. Less than 3 years after he was released from prison on a murder conviction, a Springfield man is accused of attacking a man with a hatchet over the weekend. Christopher Michael Salisbury, 41, is charged with the Class B felony of first-degree assault and armed criminal action for an alleged assault that happened around midnight Saturday, May 2nd, at a residence in Springfield. In 2005, Salisbury was convicted of second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and armed criminal action. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison but released on parole in 2023. According to the probable cause statement from the recent charges, Springfield police were dispatched to a residence around 11:30 p.m. Saturday for a priority assault and found the victim, identified as V1, lying on the front porch of a home with a laceration to the left side of his neck and head. The laceration was actively bleeding, 1 to 2 inches long, and appeared to be caused by a sharp-bladed object. V1 told police he was assaulted by a male he knew as Fox. Fox was identified as Salisbury, a neighbor of V1's brother. There's a picture of Christopher Salisbury. He's looking down. He's got kind of reddish blonde hair, beard and mustache. According to the statement, V1 and other individuals who lived in the neighborhood were outside talking. At some point, V1 and Salisbury got into an argument. Salisbury walked away into a residence and then allegedly returned with a hatchet. According to the statement, Salisbury then charged at V1 with the hatchet and struck him in the left side of face and neck. V1 told police he tried to defend himself by punching Salisbury. A witness told police similar accounts of what happened. A second witness said he did not see the assault happen, but said he did see Salisbury return to the argument with a hatchet in his hand, according to the statement. A third witness told officers V1 and Salisbury agreed to fight on the side of the house and that V1 hit Salisbury with a brick. When asked about the hatchet, the third witness said Salisbury could have had it on him, but the witness said it was hard to see because it was dark. Salisbury denied having an axe or hatchet in his hand when the scuffle occurred, according to the statement. Police say Salisbury made multiple statements to officers that he had been assaulted by a brick and that he was defending his girlfriend. Article details 2004 homicide. According to a 2004 article in the Washington Missourian, a Salisbury, at the time at age 19, stabbed his then 17-year-old girlfriend in the early morning hours of September 12, 2004, outside of a home in Union. She survived. But Salisbury also stabbed the girl's father, Louis Fingers, 40, in the neck when he responded to his daughter's screams for help. Fingers died at the scene. According to the 2004 article, Salisbury had been living with his teenage girlfriend and her parents in Union, Missouri. The young couple had been walking around Union, arguing, and returned to the Fingers' home on Circle Drive around 3 a.m. Louis Fingers heard his daughter scream. He ran outside to try to push Salisbury off his daughter and was struck in the neck with a knife, according to the article. Salisbury reportedly told police in 2004 that his girlfriend had the knife and he was trying to take it away from her. The 17-year-old girl had been stabbed 3 times in her right side and 3 times in her forearm, which indicated a defensive posture, according to the article. After pleading guilty in 2005, Salisbury spent just under 18 years in the Department of Corrections before he was released on parole in 2023. Salisbury is being held without bond in the Greene County Jail. He does not yet have an attorney listed as representing him. Jackie Rewald is a reporter at the Springfield Daily Citizen. She covers public safety, the courts, homelessness, domestic violence, and other social issues. Her office line is 417-837-3659.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Brian Fogel. Families find comfort home in Ronald McDonald House. At Ronald McDonald House, families don't have to choose between being there for their child and having a place to stay. They have a picture here with a dad and his little baby girl. Recently, Ronald McDonald House Charities of the Ozarks celebrated 38 years of serving families of seriously ill and injured children who are in our local hospitals undergoing care and treatment. They are part of the international organization that first opened a Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia in 1974 and now has 1,000 programs in 60 countries. Got a picture here of a little girl. She got a little pink boxing and a little cape on. Our local affiliate has been led since day one by Bonnie Keller, who is one of the most respected nonprofit executives in the region. She was there when it was but an idea for Springfield, and today, where we have 2 Ronald McDonald Houses serving both Cox and Mercy hospitals, as well as the Tooth Truck, which provides much-needed dental care. Bonnie shared with me this poem that was written to explain their why. There's a difference between someone who stops by and someone who stays. Victor comes to say hello. They check the time. They park in short term. They arrive with balloons, cards, and carefully chosen words. They smile, hold hands, maybe cry a little. And when visiting hours are over, they go. Family is not a visitor. Family stays. Family stays, and every hard conversation, every impossible decision, they don't glance at the time, they lose track of it. They sleep in chairs and cars and hallways. They miss work, they miss paychecks, they miss meals. They put their entire lives on hold just to be close to the ones who needs them most. At Ronald McDonald House, we believe no family should have to choose between being there for their child and having a place to stay. So we give them more than just a room. We give them rest, warmth, a hot meal, a shoulder. We give them something that feels like normal, even when nothing is. Because when a child is in the hospital, family stays, and we stay with them. I have a picture here of the Ronald McDonald House. Before my own retirement as a nonprofit executive, Bonnie was a peer who I consulted often on best practices, and working with hundreds of nonprofits in my former capacity, and now teaching about them, I saw a sector long on passion for their mission, but often lacking in capacity in the organizational requirements. Bonnie excels at both and shared with me policies as varied as successions plannings to emergency continuing operational plans that we use to help with our own operations and planning. She also successfully transitioned from a founding board that helped more as volunteers to a more traditional governing board needed with a mature organization. She shared with me a story early on how the founding board spent hours on deciding which paint schemes to use in the building the first house in 1988. Governing boards don't do that. Her energy, vision, and experience continue to lead the Ronald McDonald House today. They show a picture of the inside of it. Nice brick wall. Since their founding nearly 4 decades ago, they have served over 17,000 families from 48 states and 10 foreign countries, with some stays for just a few days and some for months. Their website is clocked off. Their website is chock full of stories from families who have been helped. I found this one especially poignant. Our daughter was born with hydrocephalus and was diagnosed with a debilitating and fatal disease. I was discharged from the hospital as a massive snowstorm hit, so my husband and I could not get home. We were separated from friends and family at Christmas, and we did not know what our daughter's fate would be. The Ronald McDonald House became our home for the holidays. We will never forget the profound kindness that was extended to us. I awoke on Christmas morning to see my baby's first Christmas gifts ever sitting under house trees. My daughter had been diagnosed with a fatal illness, and I wondered if these gifts would be her last. Our lives were forever changed by the love extended to us from strangers. Imagine our relief when we learned the fatal disease was a misdiagnosis and the hydrocephalus healed on its own. Thanks to the Ronald McDonald House for adding to our Christmas miracle and profound impacting the rest of our lives. I wonder just how differently that holiday would have gone without Ronald McDonald House. As their why said, family stays, and they didn't have to worry about where, how, and how much. They could focus solely on their special daughter. They have a picture here. It says daycare away, Dragons Healthy Smiles, side of the dentist's office. The other main program of Ronald McDonald is the tooth truck. Our region periodically does health assessments, and I remember decades ago, lack of accessible dental resources and access to them was identified as a huge critical need. About 70% of dentists in the area do not take Medicaid patients due to low reimbursement rates, and tooth decay is the single largest chronic disease among children. Research shows nearly 80% of it goes untreated with children living in poverty. Fortunately, the leadership of Ronald McDonald House responded to the need and debuted the mobile tooth truck in 2002. Since that time, they have served over 31,000 children through 66 dental appointments free of charge. If you're interested in learning more or helping, their website lists volunteer activities as well as ways to support financially. To offer their service for families and children in need free of charge, they need widespread community support. Bonnie shared with me that although the new Children's Hospital associated with Cox and Mercy will mean so much to families in our region, it will also increase demand for their own services. She also mentioned that the pandemic impacted their strong volunteer base, and they would welcome more help in that realm. Fortunately, Springfield and the Ozarks has always responded because they know that they will provide so much more than just a room at a time when they feel the most vulnerable. Editor's note, this is one of the series of monthly columns in which Brian Fogel will share the stories of various local nonprofits and the incredible difference they make in our community. Brian Fogel is executive in residence at Drury University and former chief executive officer at the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. At Drury, he is helping support and develop the university's nonprofit leadership programs and connecting students with organizations to meet the needs and challenges of our community. In addition to his 15 years leading CFO, Fogel has been active in numerous civic and nonprofit groups. He can be reached at bfogeljewry.edu. More by Brian Fogel.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. 13 SPS buildings damaged in hailstorm, but vehicles had it worse. Large hail caused damage on Springfield's north side while school was in session on Tuesday afternoon. By Joe Hadsel. There's a picture of vehicles outside Hillcrest High School with blue tarps on them. It says the vehicles parked outside Hillcrest High School are covered with tarps after suffering damage in Tuesday's hailstorm. Photo by Joe Hadsel. A day after baseball-sized hail brutalized parts of the region, Springfield Public Schools officials got a better idea of the damage done to the district's schools. While significant damage was recorded at 13 buildings, the most severe damage caused by the hail was on the personal vehicles of teachers, students, and other employees. No one was hurt during the storm, which happened while school was in session. Thankfully, all students and staff remained safe, and buildings were secure during the severe weather, said Stephen Hall, Chief Communication Officer for SBS. We have returned to normal operations district-wide. Hall said the greatest damage by far was done to vehicles in parking lots. At Hillcrest High School on Wednesday, several hail-damaged cars remained parked and covered, awaiting a tow in parking lots for both staff members and students. The same sort of damage was done to district-owned vehicles, such as buses and police vehicles. Some buildings experienced brief power outages and small roof leaks, and one building had a cracked window. In addition to Hillcrest, damage was reported at many northern schools: Academy of Exploration, Bissett, Bowerman, Fremont, Truman, Watkins, Williams, and York Elementaries, Pleasant View and Westport K-8, Mallory Early Childhood Center, and Studi Alternative Center. Repair costs are expected to be funded by the district's insurance coverage.
This is the Springfield Daily Citizen. Local police departments launch blue envelope programs for safer interactions with people with disabilities. I have a picture here of the man at the podium. Hollister Chief of Police Bert Steiwalt was among those who spoke at a press conference Monday morning at the Greene County Public Safety Center in Springfield to announce the launch of a program aimed to improving interactions between law enforcement and people with disabilities or communication challenges. This program is extremely important to me, Stritewell said of the Blue Envelope program. Autism awareness is not just a month in my family. It's an everyday thing that we deal with. Somebody that doesn't know anything about autism or communication barriers, neurodivergent issues, they can seem strange to the outside world. To improve interactions between law enforcement and people with disabilities or communication challenges, participants receive a blue envelope that holds important documents: driver's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance, which is handed directly to an officer during a traffic stop or emergency. The outside of the envelope notes the individual's communication needs. Are they deaf, hard of hearing? Do they have trouble speaking clearly or speak limited English? Do they have a neurodevelopment condition such as autism or ADHD, for example? His behaviors and actions can seem, to the untrained eye, strange and odd, Stritewell said of his son, who has autism. That worries me from an officer's perspective because I know how those behaviors would seem to me on a day-to-day basis, even though I live with somebody with autism. The Blue Envelope program is being launched locally by the Springfield Police Department as well as the Hollister and Nixa Police Departments. Springfield Police Chiefs hope other departments come on board. My hope is that other departments throughout Southwest Missouri will see the benefit and join us as well, said Springfield Police Chief Paul Williams, adding that the purpose of the Blue Envelope program is to make interactions between law enforcement officers, individuals with disabilities or communication challenges safer, calmer, and more supported. This tool gives officers vital information right away so they can understand a person's communication needs and adjust their approach in the moment, Williams said. That immediate awareness can make all the difference during a traffic stop or an emergency. They show the blue envelopes here: communication needs, deaf, hard of hearing, trouble speaking clearly, speaks limited English, neurodevelopment condition, mental health conditions, cognitive, neurological impairment, uncontrolled movements or sounds, medical related. In Springfield, blue envelopes will be available at SPS headquarters at 321 East Chestnut Expressway and at the South District Station at 2620 East Battlefield Road. Arc of the Ozarks, Abilities First, Centerstone, and Borough Behavioral Health will also play integral roles in getting the blue envelopes in the hands of those who might need them. Speaking on behalf of Borough Autism Center, we couldn't be happier and more pleased to see this project being kicked off, said Dr. Seth Allen, director of the Borough Autism Center. Providing the tools to the community to understand the neurodivergent population much better, respond to them more effectively, is going to bring immeasurable benefits to the Springfield and its surrounding communities. Nixa Police Captain says officers will be trained, prepared to handle interactions. Captain Jason Fleetwood with Nixa Police Department called the Blue Envelope Program another tool to better serve our community members who may need additional communication support. It ensures communication is clear, effective, and understood on both sides, Fleetwood said, and reinforces our commitment to making sure officers are properly trained and prepared to handle these interactions appropriately. Jamie McGraham is the Autism Resource Specialist at the Arc of the Ozarks Autism and Neural Development Center. She is also the mother of an adult son who is deaf and has autism. They show pictures here of them on the panel. McGranham shared that the center has completed more than 700 autism evaluations for adults and children in the community since it opened in 2024. For our friends with autism within the spectrum, for our deaf and hard of hearing friends, for those with medical needs, this can be a game changer, McGranham said. This allows them to feel safe and secure, to feel protected, as well as be prepared for situations within the community. According to McGranham, individuals with autism are 7 times more likely to encounter law enforcement in their lives. There are scary stories that happen every day. McGranham recalled a time when she was driving and her son was a passenger. Her tailgate light was out, and an officer conducted a traffic stop. She explained how her son loves law enforcement and became really excited when she saw the police lights behind him. He began to sign really big, and he started reaching for his phone. Now, Connor is 33 years old. He looks like a typical adult man, she said. I thought, oh my gosh, we haven't taught him what to do in this situation. As the officer approached, they were a little concerned, she said. And so we stopped and I said, he's deaf, he has autism, and we taught Connor quickly about where to put his hands in those situations. It's funny now when we joke about it, but it could have gone a lot worse, she continued. There are scary stories that happen every day. This is going to make a big difference for our families. The Blue Envelope Program, which started a few years ago in another state, is a voluntary program offered by Springfield, Nixa, and Hollister Police Departments. It may not be implemented and recognized by all law enforcement agencies. Tips for individuals. If you're using a blue envelope, you're encouraged to hand the officer the blue envelope when you encounter an officer. Also, keep your hands visible. Take a deep breath and listen carefully to instructions. Don't reach for items or leave the scene without permission. Excuse me. This story is by Jackie Rewald. Is a reporter at the Springfield Daily Citizen. She covers public safety, the courts, homelessness, domestic violence, and other social issues. Her office line is 417-837-3659.
This is from Springfield Daily Citizen. Evangel restructures its online college to mesh with other degree programs. Move part of several to tighten spending in anticipation of challenging conditions for higher education. Several jobs eliminated, by Joe Hadsall. There's a picture of the Welcome Center at Evangel University. Evangel University is restructuring its online learning program as it prepares to deal with the challenging economic and demographic environment. A handful of jobs will be eliminated as part of the restructuring. Evangel, for the 2026-27 school year, will restructure its College of Online Learning to be more integrated with its other degree programs. Michael Kolstad, Chief of Staff at Evangel, said the restructuring was done to resolve how the online courses were separate from other course programs. Before the restructuring, Evangel offered a College of Arts and Sciences that was separate from its College of Online Learning. They basically existed in silos, Kolstad said. In some cases, they would actually offer the same degree that another department would offer, but it was a different faculty. The move basically shifts the online college into the College of Arts and Sciences. That college includes many of Evangel's degree programs and course offerings. It is separate from the Assemblies of God Theological Seminary, which offers master's and doctorates in religious studies. The move will not affect students, Kolstad said. In fact, it will open up more options for them, by integrating online learning into all of the college's programs. It is a way that the university can adapt to student needs that have changed over time, he said. We get a lot of kids that are coming from high schools where part of their curriculum is offered as both seated and online, Kolstad said. This will give our faculty opportunities moving forward where we can do similar things. Perhaps a baseball player who can't make it to every seated class because of his baseball schedule now has options to take some of those classes online. Prior, we kept it separate. It also offers cost savings benefits to the university by eliminating redundancy, Kolstad said. Kolstad said 2 positions inside the College of Learning have been cut. Additionally, 3 other faculty positions across the college have been eliminated, and a handful of positions vacated because of retirements or resignations will not be filled. The restructuring is one of a number of ways Evangel is dealing with a challenging environment for higher education. The university earlier this year discontinued offering discounts on tuition fees to children of employees. Kolstad said the university and its board of curators are studying more ways to enhance their financial footing. The university has received a significant amount of support through the Here Now fundraising campaign. In 2025, EU reported it had raised more than $117 million in a span of less than 4 years. It has also invested in major construction projects such as AG Financial Arena and the renovation of Walther Hall. Flood Residence Hall is nearly complete and prepared to house students next school year. Kolstad said support from donors allowed the university to build the arena and residence hall without incurring debt. Evangel is listed as a 501c3 nonprofit company and is obligated to file tax returns that are available for public viewing. According to the most current return available, Evangel reported revenues of about $81.1 million and expenditures of about $71.3 million for the 2024 tax year, which ran from May 1st, 2024 to April 30th, 2025. There are tremendous pressures out there for colleges, whether you are public or private, and we are doing our best to tighten and be ready for that, Kolstad said. It's all disruptive, it's very uncomfortable, but we want Evangel to not only thrive, but to be there for the next 10 generations.
Missouri conservation officials warn drivers of turtles crossing roads. Motorists across Missouri are being asked to slow down and stay alert for turtles crossing roadways during the spring months, according to a community announcement from the Missouri Department of Conservation. Spring rains and warmer temperatures prompt turtles to leave their burrows and search for food, mates, and nesting sites, often bringing them onto roads where they face a high risk of being struck by vehicles, according to the announcement. Several species are commonly seen crossing Missouri roads, including 3-toed box turtles, ornate box turtles, and common snapping turtles. Why turtles cross roads in the spring? I got a picture here of a little turtle. Turtles typically spend most of their lives within a small area, but some may travel as far as 6 miles, according to the announcement. Young males are the most frequent travelers as they search for territory and mates, while females also cross roads while looking for suitable nesting areas. Roadways can also attract turtles because of warmth. Like other reptiles, turtles are cold-blooded and may bask on warm pavement during cooler spring days, which increases the risk of vehicle strikes. How motorists can help safely? MDC encourages drivers who see a turtle on the road to slow down and, when it's safe, stay around it. If motorists choose to help a turtle cross, the agency advised putting personal safety first by checking for traffic and moving the turtle in the direction it was already traveling, according to the announcement. Additional guidance is available in a short MDC video at youtube.com, which explains safe ways to help turtles crossing roads. Tracking wildlife vehicle collisions statewide. Beyond turtle safety, MDC is working with the Missouri Department of Transportation on broader wildlife vehicle collision prevention efforts. Missouri's Wildlife Vehicle Collision Study identifies locations where conflicts between vehicle and wildlife occur most frequently and recommends strategies to improve safety while maintaining habitat connectivity. More information is available at MoDOT.org. MoDOT had also launched the Roadkill Observation and Data System app, a citizen science program that allows the public to report roadkill or animals near roadways. Their reports are intended to help fill data gaps and support conservation planning across the state. Leave the turtles in the wild. MDC also advises residents to leave wild turtles where they are found. Removing a turtle from the wild and keeping it as a pet often leads to its death, according to the announcement. While most Missouri turtles live 15 to 30 years, box turtles can live 50 to 80 years and sometimes more than 100 years. Information about Missouri turtle species is available through MDC's online field guide at mdc.mo.gov. This story was created by Dave DeMille with the assistance of artificial intelligence. Journalists were involved in every step of the information gathering, review, editing, and publishing process.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. A $20 million trust was meant to honor John Q. Hammond's charitable intent. Where did the money go? Court documents, interviews, and IRS filings provide clues to a mystery that bothers Hammond's longtime friends. By Kathleen Odell. There's no question that hotel tycoon John Q. Hammond's had a major impact on Springfield. He built office towers, hotels, and enriched hospitals, universities, and charities before he died in 2013 at age 94. His money and influence brought the Springfield Cardinals and a minor league baseball stadium, Hammond's Field, which was renamed last week to Route 66 Stadium. 5 years after his death, the Chapter 11 bankruptcy settlement that toppled his empire left a $20 million trust to honor Mr. Hammond's charitable intent. Where did all of it go? This is the story of that mystery, the money trail. Like any good mystery, this one has a trail of clues. They're buried within IRS filings, tax filings, bankruptcy court documents, interviews, and records with the Missouri Secretary of State and the city of Springfield. They reveal, among other things, the trust was house rich and cash poor, most of its assets into two properties, Hammond's Field and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. The trust earned $6.5 million after selling Hammond's Field to the city in 2023, but unlike past years, the public can't see the IRS return that would reflect the sale. The John Q. Hammond's Charitable Trust, a private foundation, stopped filing its public annual returns, reported $0 assets, and dissolved the trust. In that final report, the trust declared that it had improperly been filed as a charitable foundation since it began. It had also been filing its financials under a different IRS form that's closed to public scrutiny. The larger legacy recipients of past Hammond's gifts say they haven't seen any grants since before 2018, when a more than $1 billion bankruptcy settlement transferred control of Hammond's assets to J.D. Holdings LLC, a national wealth management firm. Some know, but they're not talking. There's no mystery to a select handful of people, but they're not talking. J.D. Holdings LLC owner Jonathan Elian, Hammond's largest creditor, and John Casale, Vice President of Investments for Atrium Holding Company / J.D. Holdings, were named alternately in IRS filings as trustees of the John Q. Hammond's Charitable Trust. They have not responded to multiple Springfield Daily Citizen requests for interviews. Two Springfield individuals and former trustees of the bankrupt Hammond's Revocable Trust are Jacqueline Jackie Dowdy and Gregory Groves. Under the 2018 settlement, they were named as co-trustees of the JQH Trust and authorized to designate the charities to receive JQH Trust assets only with the blessing of J.D. Holdings. Dowdy, former CEO of JQH Hotels and Resorts and later Hammond's legal guardian, has not responded to requests for comment from the Springfield Daily Citizen. There's a picture of Gregory Groves. He is in a dark blazer with a striped shirt and a blue and black tie, holding a microphone with a blue top on it and wearing glasses. It says Gregory Groves, Springfield attorney and co-trustee of the John Q. Hammond's Charitable Trust, declines to discuss the status of the trust, citing litigation or potential litigation that we're looking at. Contacted by phone, Attorney Groves repeatedly declined to comment about the status of the Hammond's Trust. citing litigation or potential litigation that we're looking at. He added later, "We've got some very interesting litigation issues to look at and to determine." He would not elaborate or identify the litigation. Dowdy and Groves were offered an estimated $615,000 combined severance package in the bankruptcy settlement to resign their leadership with John Q. Hammons Hotels and Resorts, according to the settlement. House rich, cash poor. Over the course of his lifetime, Hammond's reach went far beyond the Ozarks. He developed some 210 hotel properties and other assets across the U.S., including interest in an Illinois riverboat casino. But Springfield was always home, office, and home. He finessed deals from the brass-encrusted ninth floor office of the John Q. Hammons office building. His window overlooked Hammons Tower and Hammons Field across the street. To the west stood his signature atrium-style University Plaza Hotel and Convention Center and a condominium tower. Hammons and his wife Juanita had no heirs, but over the years, Hammons directed millions in major gifts by way of seed money or capital pledges to so-called legacy institutions, among them Missouri State and Drury Universities, Ozarks Technical Community College, and the former St. John's, now Mercy Hospital, Springfield. A bankruptcy, a settlement, and the leftovers. Hammond's wealth and assets were wrapped up in his massive revocable trust, the vehicle for his commercial real estate portfolio and hotels. But in 2018, 5 years after his death, Hammond's vast hotel and business empire collapsed under the weight of a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. With it went his personal assets and an old charitable trust established in 1989. It was amended in 2013 for tax-exempt charitable giving, but was never funded, IRS records show. In 2024, the IRS revoked the trust's tax-exempt status for failing to file returns for 3 consecutive years, a standard IRS practice. The downfall began in 2005 when Hammons entered into a complex agreement with his largest creditor, New York-based J.D. Holdings, LLC, owned by Elian, to help him privatize his publicly traded company. There's a picture of the front of Hammons Field. It says, "Fans await to enter Hammons Field through the main gate for an exhibition game between minor league Springfield Cardinals and the Major League St. Louis Cardinals on Monday, March 2nd, 2026. The ballpark has since been renamed Route 66 Stadium." Photo by Jim Wilson. The new structure allowed Hammons to exit from the public markets, obtain a degree of liquidity, and avoid a sale that would trigger capital gains taxes, according to a subsequent 2014 court document related to J.D. Holdings' first right of refusal in the hotel's ownership. The 2005 agreement gave J.D. Holdings Elian indirect ownership of 43 Hammons hotels and a management of 15 others. Elian received a right of first refusal and various other rights regarding hotels that Hammons had developed and owned. When Hammons died in 2013, J.D. Holdings launched efforts to take over the massive business portfolio, but was stopped in 2016 when the Hammons entities filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The acrimonious 2-year bankruptcy case ultimately consumed most of Hammons' business and personal assets. Under the 2018 settlement, J.D. Holdings reportedly paid more than $1 billion to buy the remaining 35 JQH hotels and nearly 150 other assets, including Hammons Tower, Hammons Field, University Plaza Hotel and Convention Center, and Highland Springs Country Club, a new trust to honor Mr. Hammons' charitable intent. The 2018 bankruptcy settlement ordered J.D. Holdings to create a $20 million new John Q. Hammons charitable trust to honor Mr. Hammons' charitable intent, but the trust was house rich and cash poor. J.D. Holdings was to pay $2 million in cash, sufficient funds to wind up the administration and operations of the JQH Trust and the state court probate of the estate of John Q. Hammons, which is estimated to be $615,000, according to settlement documents.
This is Springfield News-Leader. Springfield News-Leader launches vehicle noise complaint portal, cracks down on violations. Loud vehicle noise has been a persistent complaint among Springfield residents throughout the years, In hopes of cracking down on the issue, the City and Springfield Police Department have launched a new campaign and a reported tool. Dubbed the Hear Something, Say Something campaign, the new online tool will give a citizen a way to submit usable evidence to hold vehicle owners responsible for excessive noise violations. Community members can use the portal available at hearsomething.sgf.com to submit a complaint, form along with a video that captures both the noise and the vehicle's full license plate. In order to be considered, complaint submissions must include the date, time, and location of the violation, a vehicle description, a video with clear audio of the excessive noise, and the visible and legible complete license plate. The new reporting mechanism goes hand in hand with the new ordinance passed by Springfield City Council in 2024 that empowered SPD to administratively enforce noise violations and assess a civil penalty against the owner of a vehicle found to be in violation of noise ordinance. Previously, the violations could only be enforced through a criminal process, which placed the burden of proof on the city, just like for any other crime. This can be difficult, especially when the owner of a vehicle can't be assumed to be the one behind the wheel. With the new enforcement mechanisms in place, violators of the noise ordinance could face a civil penalty of a $100 fine. According to the SPS news release, civil penalty notifications are issued to vehicle owners via mail. The allegations can be disputed by following instructions included in the letter. We know the excessively loud vehicle is a quality of life issue that is a top frustration for many Springfield residents, especially in areas with late night activity, Springfield Police Chief Paul Williams said in the release. This campaign gives our community a direct role in holding vehicle owners accountable. Marta Meets covers local government at the News-Leader. Have feedback, tips, or story ideas? Contact her at mmeets@newsleader.com.
We're currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, situated at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, please visit our official website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. To explore more of our video content, including movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material, please visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as valuable resources for community engagement and education.
This is the Springfield Daily Citizen. It says poking around. No grace period for drivers with damaged windshields. It's up to officers' discretion. Last week, I was at a traffic light in Springfield when I noticed the car ahead of me had a front windshield so damaged I wondered if the driver could possibly see the road ahead. This was after an April 28 hailstorm damaged thousands of vehicles in the Springfield area, including hundreds in the parking lot at the Springfield Branson National Airport. From my vehicle, I took a photo of the car in front of me, and today, as I write this column, I blew it up to take a closer look. If you ask me, that's a safety hazard. The picture that's shown here with this windshield, you can't even see out of it. So that was a miracle that person was even driving it. But what are you supposed to do? But my next thought was, what are you supposed to do? It's almost impossible right now to get your windshield replaced because so many cars were damaged, and it's just unlikely you'll be able to find a rental car this week in Springfield. They're either already rented or getting their windshields replaced. If someone can't pick you up or give you a loaner, do you not go to work? I suppose you could call a taxi, Uber or Lyft. Nevertheless, I'm guessing there are hundreds of desperate drivers cruising the roads of Springfield this week with damaged windshields or no windshields. This current driving dilemma, to see or not to see, made me wonder if local police were granting a grace period for drivers having a difficult time getting their windshields replaced. After all, the threshold for a ticket for a damaged windshield is fairly low. State vehicle safety requirements talk about not having cracks more than 3 inches in a part of the windshield in front of the driver and mentions stone nicks and chips of 2 inches or more. The damage on many cars right now is well beyond that. Should these drivers be ticketed? Officers have discretion to weigh situation. I contacted Springfield Police Department and the Greene County Sheriff's Office. Officers always have discretion when conducting traffic stops for violations, says Chris Waters, spokesperson for Springfield Police Department. When considering their enforcement decisions, they do take into account possible extenuating circumstances with each unique stop. However, we continue to advise drivers to not operate a vehicle with an obstructed windshield, as it is significantly a safety concern. I also asked her how many Springfield squad cars needed new windshields. 10 SP vehicles will have glass replaced, she says. This number is fluid as we continue to triage and evaluate all fleet vehicles. We understand that several factors may affect timely repairs. Here's what Jonah Beatles, spokesman for the Greene County Sheriff's Office, said. No formal policy has been implemented regarding a grace period for damaged windshields following the hailstorm. However, we do take into account the challenges that arise from the widespread collateral damage caused by uncontrollable natural events. We understand that several factors may affect timely repairs, such as the financial strain on the vehicle owner or delays due to local auto glass companies experiencing high repair volumes. While we consider these circumstances, we must also assess from a public safety standpoint whether a windshield may be too damaged to allow a motorist to safely view their surroundings. Beatles was working on providing me with the number of Greene County patrol cars in need of new windshields, but was unable to find out by deadline. My advice is that if you can't see the road in front of you, don't drive. If you have a cracked windshield and feel you absolutely have to drive, then I'd recommend you have in your possession a document showing your scheduled window replacement appointment. Show it to the officer who pulls you over. This is Poking Around, column number 350. Steve Pokin writes the Poking Around and the Answer Man columns for the Springfield Daily Citizen. He also writes about criminal justice issues. He can be reached at pokingaroundcitizen.org. His office's line is 417-837-3661.
This is from the Springfield Business Journal. It says, Drury preservation of historic AME Church nearly complete. Dedication of Drury's Benton Avenue Educational Center expected in August. By Claudette Riley, reporter. C. Riley at sbj.net. From the wooden altar rail to the curved pews, the sanctuary of a historic church on the Drury University campus looks much the way it did a century ago. But the roof, lower level, and wiring behind the walls have all been modernized. The private institution has entered the final stages of renovating the Benton Avenue Educational Center, preserving a former African Methodist Episcopal church for future student and community use. If the schedule remains on track, a soft opening is expected in May, with a formal dedication to follow, likely in August. We'll do a behind-the-scenes tour for community members who are very passionate about the project so they can see it, said Drury President Jeff Frederick during an April 16th tour. But we will probably not do a formal thing until our students are back in the fall. The church, founded in 1867, started in a wooden structure. A cornerstone was set in 1922, and the current building opened in 1926. The church was listed on the National Register of Historic Places for its cultural significance and architectural design. Shuttered in 2014, Drury acquired the property and researched the history of the church and its role in Springfield and links to the civil rights movement before formulating a plan. It was a hub in a once thriving black community and briefly pastored by the Reverend Oliver Brown, the namesake plaintiff in the landmark Brown versus Board of Education. The blueprint that emerged was to preserve the brick exterior, sanctuary, and front stairs and transform the lower level, formerly a kitchen and fellowship hall, into exhibition space and educational purposes. This would be a public history space, Frederick said in the lower level. There would probably be some permanent exhibits, like one for Oliver Brown, but the rest of them would rotate depending on what was topical at the time. Frederick said the university is working with local historian Lyle Foster and others on a display about Route 66 and the Green Book, a guide to help Black travelers find safe places to eat and sleep during the era of racial segregation. Drury's original budget was $3 million, a mix of private donations and funding from the state, Greene County, and the federal American Rescue Plan Act. He said the university wrestled with how to honor the original intent of the 2,400 square foot building and add amenities like fiber optic cables and track lighting for the exhibits. The work was being done by Kenmore Construction Incorporated. The project, designed by architect John Oak Thomas and launched in late 2024, included upgrading restrooms, windows, and internal systems. Safety features have been added and building accessibility was improved. A concrete ramp was added to the front, and a chairlift will be installed for individuals who are unable to climb stairs. However, adding an elevator was not in the budget. Aaron Jones, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, said the design calls for an elevator to eventually be added to the southeast corner of the building. He said building it as an addition preserves the usable space inside. We've had some additional donations and we'll be evaluating what next steps there might be, he said. Alex Riddle, Executive Director of Facilities, said the floors in the lower level in the sanctuary, original hardwood covered with tile, were replaced. When we were pulling up those tiles, it became apparent that we could not salvage the floor. He said, we tried to get as close as we could with something that would be durable but beautiful. Benton Avenue is the third historic church on the Drury campus, which is also home to Stone Chapel and the former Washington Avenue Baptist Church. Drury partners with Springfield Public Schools to provide the Black History Summer Academy, and the university envisions opening Benton Avenue for student tours and campus events. Asked if the center will be available for the public to rent, Frederick said details are being discussed about the best way to make the space available to others. Drury is supposed to be a place-making spot. I want as many community members as possible to be on our campus, Frederick said.
This is the Springfield Daily Citizen. Brian Fogel, Lost and Found helps us learn to express big grief feelings. They have a picture here with a lady and children who's reading to them. It was 1999 and a mutual friend suggested I have lunch with Sean Askinosi. I had met him several times and our daughters had even played together through another mutual connection, and so we sat outside at a restaurant that no longer exists and talked. I primarily knew Sean through his work as a very high-profile defense attorney, but as he spoke, I knew he had something else on his mind and heart. He shared his story about losing his father when he was barely a teenager and the impact that it had on him, and he tried to reconcile such a tragic loss at that impressionable age. School and parents provide so much education and guidance in our wonder years, but very few teach us about death and grief. I also remember talking with him about the Bob Buford book I had just read called Halftime, which suggests that at a certain point in our lives, after building families and careers, we wonder while climbing that ladder of success, is it even on the right wall? Buford's observation of his own life and career in his 40s was the need to move from success to significance. Sean embraced that notion and started both the Bean to Bar Chocolate Factory and also launched Lost and Found Grief Center in 2000 with the help of Dr. Karen Scott. They celebrated their 25th year just last year and have had a deep impact on individuals and families who, like Sean, were impacted by the loss of a loved one. Lost and Found provided help, hope, and healing to 741 individuals in 2025 through nearly 600 hours of no-cost therapeutic grief group time. In addition, there were 543 individual grief counseling sessions and 220 community members received grief education and training assistance. Children, parents report learning to navigate their grief. The impact of their work is profound on obtaining their help. After receiving professional therapeutic grief support at their center, 81% of kids knew how to express big grief feelings, 86% of teenagers reported they found a way to carry their grief and move forward in life, and 94% of parents expressed they were now better equipped to navigate their grief. The cost of interaction is substantial. 1 in 4 youth 18 and under who die by suicide or bereaved, according to Judy's House Childhood Bereavement Estimation Model. The same source cited bereaved youth are 175% more likely to develop substance use disorders in adulthood. Even the economic impact is significant. Forbes magazine stated that 1 in 9 employees are impacted by death, and estimated grief-related losses cost companies approximately $75 billion each year. This important work done by Lost and Found is carried out by CEO Mark Miller and a staff of 12 others and numerous volunteers. Mark himself experienced tragic loss and knows all that goes with dealing with grief in the family. Community generosity means services available to all. The community has recognized the value and has been supportive of their work over the past quarter century. Like so many nonprofits, they rely on generosity of others. According to their 990 financial report listed on their website, nearly 50% of their budget came from donations and contributions, and another 34% was from fundraising events. Only 16% came from government grants. Their financial stewardship has allowed them to offer their services to individuals and families regardless of their financial situation. Financial barriers are not and should not be an issue for those dealing with grief and loss. We all have experienced loss. Winnie the Pooh said, "How lucky am I to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard?" For the most of us, losing a loved one is one of the hardest things we face in life. Adding to that is the fact that most of us never received the training or experience on how to face grief in an appropriate way. Talk of death is something we avoid. I heard an estate planning attorney say one time that it was even hard to have those discussions with clients who sought his legal advice to prepare for their reality, so he would refer to it as when your will expires. Fortunately, Lost and Found Grief Center has been there to help an estimated 25,000 neighbors in our region since its founding in 2000. Our community is so fortunate that Sean found his significance after a successful law career, and Karen was there to help the journey with her counseling background. Should you or someone you know be struggling with grief and loss, or if you want to support their work, more information can be found at www.lostandfoundozarks.com. Editor's note, this is one in a series of monthly columns in which Brian Fogel will share the stories of various local nonprofits and the incredible difference they make in our community. Brian Fogel is executive in residence at Drury University and former chief executive officer of the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. At Drury, he is helping support and develop the university's nonprofit leadership programs and connecting students with organizations to meet the needs and challenges of our community. In addition to his 15 years leading CFO, Fogel has been active in numerous civic and nonprofit groups. He can be reached at bfogel@drury.edu.
This is from 417 Magazine. Mike and Kathy Rankin's English-style garden. Mike and Kathy Rankin's garden shows off symmetry, structured borders, and an abundance of vibrant blooms. By Tessa Cooper. Mike and Kathy Rankin's garden shows off symmetry, structured borders, and an abundance of vibrant blooms. The phrase English garden often conjures images of immaculately trimmed boxwoods lining walking paths and dense blooms. Southwest Missouri gardens aren't exactly as world-renowned for these same attributes, but Mike and Kathy Rankin's garden in Roundtree is proof of that. With enough dedication and a plan, an ordinary yard in the Ozarks can look just as beautiful and refined as one in the Cotswolds. Mike, an England native, has a theory behind why gardens look much different across the pond. In England, land is at a premium, he says. You might get a garden that is just 20 feet by 30 feet. When you have a small space, you tend to maximize it and it becomes an outdoor room. Over here, you don't have a garden. You get something called a yard, which is normally very big and it's not very well structured. But according to Mike, if you start to view every square foot of your land as valued possession, as they do in England, you'll be more inspired to make the most use out of every square inch and strategically transform the entire space into one big garden. And that's exactly what Mike and Kathy did with their yard. Aside from a few mature boxwoods, peonies, and hostas that they relocated, they cleared out most of the existing plants and started from scratch. They sketched out the plans for their formal backyard garden on a piece of paper, ensuring it would look beautiful from every angle. Their home's primary bedroom on the second floor features a walkout balcony, so they even considered an elevated view. One of the most defining qualities of Mike and Kathy's backyard garden is its symmetry, not only in terms of the foundational plants like the boxwoods, but also in terms of the dense blooms. Kathy is also an avid symmetry person, and she likes to achieve that with the flowers. Mike says, when we buy, it's not usual to go in and buy 40 or 50 of the same plant in the same color, so you get a concentration of the depth of the color. With the exception of pruning, they leave most of the flowers in their front and backyard gardens to be admired, like bright red impatiens in planters and pink petunias in window boxes, but vases of flowers do fill their home often thanks to a separate bed they planted for cut flowers, such as dahlias. Throughout their formal backyard garden, you'll notice paths paved with reclaimed bricks that Mike mortared himself, stonework by retired local artisan Tom Ehlers, architectural salvage from St. Louis, and carpentry by David Lowry. The fountain in the middle of the garden is the perfect centerpiece, and guests naturally flock to it at gatherings. And the Rinkins believe their garden is meant to be shared. If you're the couple's neighbor or friend, you will definitely get to take in the beauty of their hard work at some point. It's definitely a socializing garden, Mike says.
The Springfield Daily Citizen. Celebrate Missouri's great outdoors at the ballpark. Outdoor lovers are invited to the May 7th event, Conservation Federation of Missouri Day with the Springfield Cardinals. They have a picture logo here with the Springfield Cardinals. Mark your calendars for the Thursday, May 7th, 2026 at 6:35 p.m. Head to the Route 66 Stadium in Springfield for CMF Day with the Springfield Cardinals. It's a perfect chance for family, friends, and outdoor lovers to enjoy a Cardinals baseball game while supporting conservation efforts across our state. HMI Fireplace Shop has proudly stood beside CFM for many years. Charlie, the owner of HMI, has always been a strong supporter of Missouri's rich outdoor legacy. Many of HMI employees love spending their weekends fishing, hunting, and camping in Missouri's beautiful outdoors. They understand how important it is to keep these places healthy and available for everyone. While HMI works hard every day installing safe, high-quality hearth products in homes across the state, CMF works just as hard to protect the natural resources that make those weekend adventures possible. Together, they share a simple goal, ensuring Missouri's wildlife, forests, streams, and open spaces stay strong for years to come. What CMF does for Missouri. The Conservation Federation of Missouri was founded in 1935. Its mission is straightforward: to conserve Missouri's wildlife and natural resources and preserve our state's outdoor legacy through advocacy, education, and partnerships. Thanks in large part of CFM's early work, Missouri created a nonpartisan conservation commission and the Missouri Department of Conservation. Since then, CFM has been the leading voice for the outdoors in our state. Today, CFM partners with more than 100 organizations and runs important programs that include youth education and leadership training, scholarships for students, mentor hunts for young hunters, the National Archery and the School Program, stream teams, share the harvest, and much more. These efforts can help develop the next generation of conservation leaders while protecting the land and waters we all enjoy. A fun night at the ballpark. On May 7th, you can enjoy an exciting Springfield Cardinals game while helping support CFM's important work. Tickets are just $12 and include admissions plus chances to join special CFM activities and prize drawings throughout the evening. It's family-friendly night full of baseball, fun, and conservation spirit. Special offer: if you join CFM today As an individual supporter for just $35, your Cardinals ticket is free. This is a great way to support conservation and enjoy the game at the same time. Whether you're a longtime hunter, an avid angler, a weekend camper, or someone who simply loves Missouri outdoors, this event's for you. Bring the whole family and help raise awareness for the important work CFM does every day. HMI Fireplace Shop is honored to help sponsor this event and continues to support CFM because they know strong conservation means better outdoor experience for all Missourians, including their own employees and customers. Come celebrate with us. Don't miss this chance to cheer on the Springfield Cardinals while standing up for Missouri's outdoors. Join HMI Fireplace Shop and the Conservation Federation of Missouri for an evening that celebrates everything we love about our state. May 7th, tickets are $12. Your tickets include admission to the game and the chance to participate in special CMF activities and prize drawings throughout the evening. How to purchase tickets? Purchase online using our QR code, or you can call 573-634-2322, extension 108, or you can mail a check to 728 West Main, Jefferson City, Missouri, 65101. Tickets and memberships information are available at confedmo.org. You can also join CFM online or learn more about becoming a member, affiliate, or business partner. Missouri's outdoors belong to all of us. By supporting CFM, we help make sure that they stay healthy and accessible for our kids and grandkids. So grab your tickets, bring your family and friends, and let's celebrate conservation and baseball together on May 7th. Ways you can support Conservation Federation of Missouri. A membership supports efforts to promote and protect Missouri's conservation and natural resources. Members receive our magazine 6 times a year, bi-weekly, e-newsletter, event updates, opportunities to strengthen conservation voices statewide, and access to the Legislative Action Center. Affiliate membership. CFM provides a platform for diverse organizations to amplify conservation voices statewide. Affiliates may apply for grants, receive educational training, collaborate with partners, and promote their mission and impact. Scholarship and grant support. CFM awards scholarships to undergraduates and graduate students while providing grants for youth education and affiliate projects. Contributions help future graduate generations launch meaningful, boots-on-the-ground conservation efforts statewide. Life membership / Founders Circle. Make a lasting investment in Missouri's conservation and natural resources. Life members and Founders Circle memberships are available, supporting an endowment fund that ensures long-term impact and strengthens conservation voices statewide. Business partnerships. Business partners receive recognition in each magazine issue and opportunities to connect with engaged members. Multiply partnerships levels are available to support conservation goals while increasing visibility statewide. They have a picture here with everyone outside in the outdoors. This post was paid for and produced by HMI Fireplace Shop, a partner of Springfield Daily Citizen. The Daily Citizen newsroom was not involved in the creation of this content. To be accepted, sponsored content must be consistent with the news or features, topics, and Springfield-centric geography of the Daily Citizen. For questions or information about sponsors' content, please contact Daily Citizen, David Stouffer, at davidstouffer@dailycitizen.org.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Judge Mull's decision as trial concludes with conflicting testimony in DEA shooting of Caleb Slay. Caleb Slay was shot and killed in his yard in 2020 by a DEA agent. The Greene County prosecutor ruled the shooting legally justified and did not file criminal charges. Caleb's mom filed a wrongful death suit against the government by Jackie Rewald. And there's a picture of a young man with short brown hair and looks like a gray vest and a gray tie and a gray and black striped shirt. It says Caleb Slay. The photo was provided by his mother, Tina Slay. It was warm and sunny on the afternoon of November 2nd, 2020. So Springfield couple Bailey Wade and Sean Tetlow opened the windows in their home on South Maryland Avenue. Wade was tending to their 2-month-old son, and Tetlow was sitting on the couch watching television when he observed something happening across the street. Tetlow called out to Wade, telling her there were unknown people in their neighbor Caleb Slay's yard. "I saw Caleb put his arms out like this," Wade testified, demonstrating with her arms extended and downward in front of her torso. Her hands were outstretched and her wrists a few inches apart, as though she was offering herself to be handcuffed. "I said to Sean, he's about to be arrested." Wade and Tetlow, who are both adamant they do not believe Slay was reaching for his gun when he was shot by DEA agent Anthony Gasparoni, testified at the bench trial last week in U.S. District Judge Roseanne Ketchmark's courtroom. Caleb Slay's mother, Tina Slay, filed a wrongful death civil suit against the government for the shooting death of her 25-year-old son. There's a picture of Tina Slay. She has long blonde hair and has a black T-shirt with white lettering that says #Justice for Caleb. And there's a picture of him in his Kickapoo football uniform above the fireplace. It says Tina Slay, who was interviewed in April at her parents' Springfield home, became emotional while talking about the death of her son Caleb Slay, who was shot by a DEA agent in 2020. Photo by Jackie Rewald. The trial concluded on Thursday, April 30th. Ketchmark will give her ruling in the coming weeks. The primary question she will decide is whether Gasparoni used more force than was reasonably necessary against Caleb Slay, and if so, how much should his survivors be compensated? On the stand, Wade described seeing what appeared to be two plainclothes officers. One was speaking to Slay, who had his arms outstretched in front of him, and then the other tackled Slay at the waist. Wade said Slay appeared caught off guard and shocked. Wade said he fell to the ground and was trying to push himself up off the ground when he was shot twice in the head by one of the officers. Though all this happened about 50 feet away from where she stood in her living room, Wade testified she could see the entire interaction and that Slay did not appear to reach for the gun he had in his rear waistband. Similarly, Tetlow described seeing Slay having his arms outstretched in front of him like he was asking them to handcuff him and then being tackled by another officer. He described a wrestling, wrangling kind of tango that happened very quickly. Tetlow was also asked if Slay reached for the gun in his rear waistband. No, both of his hands were actively trying to push off the ground and off the other officer, Tetlow said. He was not reaching for anything on his body. The testimony of the neighbors contradicts what the two DEA agents say, that Slay was reaching for his gun and they feared for their safety. Two other witnesses, Slay's friends, who also said Slay wasn't reaching for his gun, were unavailable to testify, but their depositions were given to Judge Ketchmark to consider. Tina Slay's attorney, Ben Neisenbaum, stated the four witnesses were separated almost immediately after the shooting and interviewed by investigators. The two agents, on the other hand, were not interviewed until 2.5 weeks later. During that time, the agents worked and socialized together, Neisenbaum said, giving them an opportunity to coordinate their stories. Prosecutor ruled shooting legally justified. Greene County Prosecutor Dan Patterson ruled in 2020 the shooting was legally justified and no criminal charges would be filed against the agents. In his report, Patterson noted that Caleb Slay was armed with a gun, didn't obey the agent's commands to stay in the vehicle, and that results from Slay's autopsy were positive for methamphetamine. The burden of proof is lower in a civil trial than a criminal one. Attorneys for Tina Slay must show by a preponderance of the evidence that the defendant's negligence or intentional actions caused the death. Gasparoni and Agent John Stewart, who were also present during the shooting, both testified on Tuesday that Slay was reaching for his gun when he was shot. They described Slay as positioning himself in a shooter's draw and that Gasparoni reasonably used deadly force to save his and his partner's lives. In closing arguments Thursday, Assistant U.S. Attorney Wyatt Nelson told the judge the four civilian witnesses didn't have the perspective of the agents that day, and they don't have the agents' knowledge and experience of the dangers of drug crimes. Nelson said Tina Slay's attorneys glossed over the glaring issue of perspective. Agent Stewart, at that moment, he believed he and Agent Gasparoni were about to be shot, Nelson said. Agent Gasparoni is trained to look at people's hands. Nelson pointed out that none of the witnesses had a view of Caleb Slay's right side. The attorney also pointed to inconsistencies among their accounts. Both Tetlow and Wade had thought one of the agents tased Caleb Slay before the shooting, and Wade seemed to get the two agents confused on the stand. The agents were up close and they had a reason to look at Caleb's hand, Nelson said, adding that Gasparoni responded appropriately with deadly force because he reasonably believed he was protecting his and his partner's lives. In his closing arguments, Nissenbaum addressed Wade's confusion about what officer pulled the trigger. She testified the agents looked the same, Nissenbaum said. The agents were dressed the same bulletproof vest. She was focused on Mr. Slay. How did DEA wind up in Slay's yard? Gasparoni and Stewart, special agents with the Drug Enforcement Administration, St. Louis Division, were in Springfield around 3:30 p.m. on November 2nd, 2020, conducting surveillance at an apartment complex they say was known for drug trafficking. Caleb Slay was not the target of the DEA agents' investigation that day. Slay was at his home about 2 miles away from the apartment complex. During their surveillance, the agents decided to follow a U-Haul pickup they suspected was involved in illegal drug activity. The U-Haul was driven by a man named Casey Ray, a friend of Slay's. Ray drove the truck from the apartment complex to Slay's house in the 1800 block of South Maryland. The DEA agents followed the U-Haul truck in separate vehicles. When the U-Haul arrived at Slay's house, Slay and Edward Borscht were sitting in Borst's vehicle. Agent Stewart arrived first. Gasparoni arrived moments later after Ray had parked the U-Haul and Stewart had detained Ray and began questioning him. While that was happening, Slay got out of the vehicle and began walking toward his house. Stewart ordered Slay to get back in the vehicle several times, but Slay did not. Around this time, Slay informed the officers that he had a gun in his rear waistband and he had his hands held out in front of his body. Nissenbaum argued Caleb Slay's actions were consistent with what citizens are taught to do in concealed carry classes when they encounter police while lawfully armed. When Gasparoni attempted to detain Caleb Slay by grabbing both of Slay's arms, Gasparoni said Slay tensed up. Stewart then attempted to tackle Caleb Slay but fell to the ground. From the ground, Stewart tried to pull Caleb Slay to the ground, and the two wrestled a bit, with Stewart trying to pull Slay down and Slay trying to push himself back up. Witnesses testified Caleb Slay was bent over, trying to push off the ground and off Agent Stewart when Gasparoni shot Slay in the head. Agent says Slay broke free from scuffle, reached for gun. Gasparoni disputed that when he took the stand, testifying that Slay had managed to break free from Stewart, was standing and had put space between himself and the agents. According to Gasparoni, once Slay had space between himself and the agents, Slay was able to reach with his right hand for his gun in his back waistband. Gasparoni said it was at that point Gasparoni shot Slay. The agent testified that Slay was not bent over Stewart when he shot him, and that he and Slay were not close to each other when he shot Slay. However, Greene County Medical Examiner, Dr. Dieter Duff's testimony seemed to contradict that. Duff testified that both of the shots into Slay's head were at a downward trajectory from left to right. One shot was directly above the ear, and the other was about 4 centimeters from the top of Slay's head. Slay was 6 feet tall. Gasparoni was 5'5". Duff described the shot above Slay's ear as being a near-contact shot, meaning the muzzle of the gun wasn't touching the skin, but 1 to 2 centimeters away at the most, possibly closer. He testified about the soot and searing from the heat of the gun and the gunpowder grains around that wound. It is very clear it's a near-contact shot, Duff said. Nissenbaum asked Duff, what if someone claimed they made this shot from a couple feet away? They are wrong, Duff responded. This is near contact. It was close to the head. Duff described the shot near the top of Slay's head as being an intermediate range wound. The doctor couldn't give a precise estimation as to how far the gun was when it fired that shot. It could be anywhere from a few inches to 2 or 3 feet away, Duff said. In his closing arguments Thursday, Nissenbaum reminded the judge of Duff's and Gasparoni's seemingly conflicting testimony and argued the medical examiner's testimony matches that of the 4 civilian witnesses. All 4 accounts fit the trajectory evidence, he said. Mr. Slay being 6 foot tall, Agent Gasparoni being 5'5", If Agent Gasparoni is holding the gun out from his chest, you cannot get those shots. Slay has got to be bent over at the waist. He was still bent over with both hands occupied, pressing off, Nisenbaum continued. There can't be a reach for his gun. With powder burn marks, we know the gun was incredibly close to Caleb's head. Agent Slay was aggressive and amped up. Gasparoni testified he believed Slay was dangerous and a possible threat, not just because Slay had informed the agents he had a gun, but because of the totality of everything. Gasparoni described Slay as aggressive and amped up. Gasparoni testified he viewed Slay tensing up when the agent tried to grab his wrists as resistance and not just a human response. Assistant U.S. Attorney Nelson asked Gasparoni about Slay breaking free from the steward on the ground and then creating distance between himself and the officers. Gasparoni said that creation of distance would make it easier to draw his gun. When asked why he shot Slay, Gasparoni responded, because Agent Stewart is lying on his back and Mr. Slay, from what I believe, was attempting to draw a firearm. I know he has a firearm, Gasparoni said. Agent Stewart is in a position that at a disadvantage. Fearing for Agent Stewart's life, I discharged multiple rounds. Gasparoni acknowledged that he and Stewart continued to work together and talked over the next 2.5 weeks before they were interviewed, but denied talking with Stewart about what happened or coordinating their stories. Mom recalls a larger-than-life person. Tina Slay sat across the table from her lawyers throughout the 3-day trial, often crying and squeezing a stress ball. When the testimony or evidence focused on her son's death and injuries, she would turn to face her family seated in the gallery. When Gasparoni took the stand, she turned her chair to face him. She was called to testify on Wednesday afternoon. She explained how she raised her son as a single mother, that he had several siblings, and that he was inseparable with his grandfather. Caleb Slay attended Carver Middle School and Kickapoo High School, where he graduated in 2013. He played sports, including wrestling and football. After his death, friends and family gathered on Kickapoo's football field for a candlelight vigil and celebration of his life, Tina Slay said. He worked security at different bars in downtown Springfield and decided he wanted to become a police officer. He felt like he could make a difference, she said. He also attended Missouri State University for a time where he was a cheerleader. His big joke was, "Hey, Mom, I get to throw pretty girls in the air," Tina Slay recalled while looking at a photo of Caleb Slay in his cheer uniform and posing with his grandfather and Boomer, the MSU Bears mascot. Caleb was a larger-than-life person. She said, anything he could do to make you laugh, he would. Mental health struggles, drug use. College hit him in the face like a lead balloon, Tina Slay said, adding that he began to struggle with his mental health. He didn't handle stress very well sometimes. Tina Slay had called 911 3 times in the years leading up to her son's death after he made comments about harming himself. She said she knew he was smoking marijuana, but she had no idea he was also using meth. She spoke about hearing there was a large police presence outside her son's home on that afternoon in November 2020, how she raced to the scene but was kept away for hours. She recalled the following day finding the large puddle of blood where her son's body lay for hours. The dried blood was in the shape of a heart, she told the judge. I just want to hear his voice. I can't sleep at night. I have panic attacks. I just want my baby back, she said. He always gave you a big hug and told you he loved you before he left. That was Caleb. Attorney says Slay didn't use needles. Springfield Police Detective Justin Thorne testified about evidence collected at the scene, including 10 milligrams of methamphetamine found in the U-Haul truck driven by Casey Ray and syringes found in Caleb Slay's home. Nisenbaum objected to both of these exhibits, saying both were unduly prejudicial and not relevant, but Judge Ketchmark allowed the photos to be admitted. In his closing arguments, Nisenbaum reminded the judge of the medical examiner's testimony on Tuesday about finding no track marks or any indication of intravenous drug use on Caleb Slay's body. Duff had testified that chronic IV drug users usually have track marks, a type of scarring that you can actually feel but are not always visible. Whoever was using the syringes, Nisenbaum said, it wasn't Caleb Slay. Witnesses unsure if agents were real cops. Tetlow and Wade, who are now engaged, said they were interviewed separately about 20 minutes after the shooting. Tetlow and Wade said they had just a few encounters with Slay, mostly an occasional wave from the driveway. Tetlow said he'd never noticed Caleb Slay being intoxicated or high, but said Slay's house had a lot of people coming and going. Tetlow called it a high-traffic house. On the morning of the shooting, the couple's dog got out of their fenced-in backyard. Slay corralled the dog and brought him back to Tetlow. Tetlow testified Caleb Slay seemed fine that morning and noticed nothing unusual. After they observed the agents in Slay's yard that afternoon, Tetlow and Wade said they could hear muffled sounds of people talking, but never heard anybody yelling curse words or commands. Asked if Caleb Slay was behaving aggressive, Tetlow responded, "I wouldn't say so, no." After the shooting, Tetlow said he called 911 because he wasn't sure if the people in his neighborhood's yard were law enforcement or not. Gasparoni testified he was wearing jeans and a T-shirt when he first approached Slay, but that he quickly returned to his unmarked vehicle to retrieve a tactical vest with the word police on the back. Mind you, these were plainclothed officers. It was kind of confusing, Tetlow said. These guys didn't look like police to me. Maybe it was the lack of uniforms. The vehicles were unmarked, he said. There was nothing screaming at me, "Oh, police." Wade also testified about being unsure if Caleb Slay had been shot by law enforcement or a civilian wearing a vest with the word police sewn to the back. When he asked if she saw one of the officers shoot Slay, Wade responded, "I actually saw red, and in my mind I thought maybe it was a rubber bullet because nothing made sense," she testified. "I did not want to believe it was a gun. I thought maybe that wasn't police because there weren't any police cars, no police uniforms."
This is Springfield Daily Citizen. Nonprofit Care to Learn to quadruple space with new Springfield headquarters. Care to Learn officials found a unicorn they were hunting. After 3 years of strategic planning, envisioning, and hunting, the nonprofit on Thursday announced that it had found a perfect home for its headquarters. It has purchased an almost 20,000 square foot building located near Glenstone Avenue at 1730 East Portland Street. "Real estate in this area is hard to come by," said Crystal Simon, CEO of Care to Learn, in an interview with the Daily Citizen. "Knowing that we needed some office space, some storage space, volunteer space, and a whole lot of parking, I had said that we needed a unicorn. When we found that property in May, it was truly everything we wished for." In addition to the purchase, the nonprofit also launched a fundraiser campaign to help raise money needed to finish the project. Current location, cramped. Launched in 2008, Care to Learn offers food, personal hygiene items, clothes, school supplies, and more to students in order to bolster academic success. It is one of the major sponsors and donors of Springfield Public Schools' annual Back to School Bash, and it's often called upon to handle emergency needs. In 2024, the organization was named as the winner of the Daily Citizen Catalyst for Good Award. It was founded by Doug Pitt, who in January was named as the 2026 Springfieldian by the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce. The nonprofit currently leases a 5,000 square foot building at 1047 South Glencoe Avenue. The new building will quadruple its space, allowing Care to Learn to maximize bulk deliveries and in-kind donations, as well as triple the number of volunteer opportunities. There's a picture here with Doug Pitt, Executive Director, and Crystal Simon, talk about the Care to Learn program. Simon said the expansion would help Care to Learn transform into a regional hub. The organization partners with more than 50 school districts across Missouri, representing 130,000 students. In the past 4 years, the nonprofit has seen a 233% increase in student requests. Originally intended to be more of a fund-based group, Simon said that volunteers have latched on to its mission. The group has 9 full-time employees who work with about 3,600 volunteers a year. Those volunteers help organize donations, pack backpacks and groceries, fold clothes, and much more. The new building's additional space will enable it to accommodate more volunteers and more donations. Simon said that nonprofit has had to turn down some large donations from corporate partners because it didn't have adequate space to store them. "We realize it is that our community really wants to engage with our mission," Simon said, "so we wanted to create a space that allowed our volunteers to do just that." Pitt, in an interview Thursday with the Daily Citizen, said that he loves how the group has transformed into the type of agency in need of significant warehouse space. The reality is, that we have also been in a triage mode, Pitt said. I had heard about needs going on just in Springfield Public Schools, and that was a big task just by itself. But we got our rhythm and realized we do health, hunger, and hygiene really well, so let's focus on that and keep those within our guardrails. I couldn't be more thrilled. What it has grown into is beyond my wildest dreams. New capital campaign titled Caring Starts Here. With the expansion, Care to Learn has launched a new capital campaign to fund a new facility and future home of the organization. The campaign, Caring Starts Here, aims to raise $6.9 million, and the organization has already secured $5.74 million, according to the release. Funding was provided by a one-time $2.5 million grant from the state of Missouri, donations from Pitt and his wife, Lisa, the board of directors, and several other anonymous donors. Care to Learn has the opportunity to earn a $750,000 challenge grant from the Maybe Foundation, which will only be awarded once an additional $1.875 million is raised by January 13th, 2027, according to the release. Pitt said the portal building is in good shape and has passed several inspections for quality, adding to its unicorn status. It already has the zoning it needs for its operation, Pitt said. We got really lucky, and there's some divine intervention with just finding the building in the first place, Pitt said. It's in really good shape. We've hired every professional we can do to inspections, so we feel we have really good grasp on where it's at. And I love the fact that even though it was never a school, it looks like a school. Paragon Architect is the lead architect on Care to Learn's new facility, and the construction manager is Snyder Construction Group, according to the press release. The property was last sold in September 25 and was appraised at $992,300, according to Greene County's Assessor's Office records. The building previous owner was Catholic Charities of Southern Missouri, now located at 424 East Monastery Street, near the intersection of Campbell and Republic Roads. Ryan Rollins is the business and economic development reporter for the Springfield Daily Citizen. Collins graduated from Glendale High School in 2011 before studying journalism and economics at the University of Missouri-Columbia. He previously worked for Bloomberg News. Contact him at 417-849-2570 or rcollins@springfieldcitizen.org.
This is from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield City Elections to include caps on campaign contributions, by Marta Maez, Springfield News-Leader. Candidates running for a Springfield municipal office in next year's elections will be limited in the monetary amounts they can accept from donors. With strong support from local groups, Springfield City Council unanimously approved campaign finance limits Monday, May 4th, codifying a practice that is already used for state offices and those running for office in St. Louis and Kansas City. The proposal to limit campaign contributions had been with the Council's Plans and Policies Committee for months. When the ordinance finally went to the full Council, Mayor Jeff Scragg proposed a substitute bill with several substantial changes. The main limit provisions remain the same, prohibiting individuals or political action committees from contributing more than $2,825 per election cycle to individuals running for Springfield mayor or council seats. The local campaign limits would not apply to school board or county seat candidates. Here are the main provisions that were changed in Scragg's version of the bill. The limit amount will be indexed with inflation and adjusted per the Consumer Price Index every 4 years. Potential violations of limits will be reviewed by the already established Citizens Tax Oversight Committee instead of a dedicated Ethics Commission. Failure to report was removed as a local violation and left for the Missouri Ethics Commission to address. Complaints can only be made by Springfield residents, and new complaints will not be accepted within 15 days before a city election. If the committee has not made a decision within 180 days of a complaint being filed, it will automatically be dismissed. Those speaking at Monday night's meeting urged council to approve limits on campaign contributions. Some were concerned with leaving the failure to report violation with the MEC and preferred a dedicated ethics commission over the use of the current tax oversight body. Still, they generally felt the ordinance would rebuild trust, improve voter turnout, and level the playing field for those interested in running for office. Councilman Brandon Jensen said, while the substitute bill rests in fundamentally weaker policy than the original, it will be a meaningful first step toward a greater trust and transparency of government. I still believe this bill is better than no bill, he said. Councilman Craig Hosmer, who referred the topic to committee in August, said that although the substitute ordinance itself was not bad, the process of the last-minute changes was counterintuitive to what the piece of legislation was meant to do. I think the process undermines what we're trying to do as far as transparency and trying to regain the trust of voters in the city of Springfield, he said. So I think that we can have all the conversations we want to have, but if we don't act and our actions don't back up those conversations, I don't think it's very effective. At the previous council meeting, Scraggs said he had no good excuse for bringing the changes up so late and said the goal was to align local policies with state laws and not duplicate efforts. With unanimous support from council, the next city election in April 2027 will be the first since 2008 that will include limits to campaign contributions. Campaign finance limits have been referred to committee before in 2016, but when the council voted on it in 2020, the measure failed. In recent committee discussions of campaign limits, council members expressed interest in adding term limits and making city council positions paid to further attract a wider range of candidates. However, no formal referrals of the topics, both of which would require voter approval, have been made to committee.
This is Understanding City Utilities Rates. What's changing and why? Energy costs around the United States are going up, and as the need for electricity continues to grow, fortunately, city utilities customers pay some of the lowest rates for electricity and natural gas within the region, state, and nation. Still, even modest increases can strain household budgets. We recognize utility prices are going up, along with so many other services that we pay for every day, said Dwayne Falk, CU's President CEO. We want to give our customers the most value possible and a better understanding of how our rates are structured, why they change, and what customers can expect heading into the summer months. How CU rates work. City utility rates are made up of two main parts: base rate and the fuel or purchase power cost. The base rate helps pay for and strengthen the system that deliver electricity, natural gas, and water to homes and businesses every day. This includes things like utility poles, power lines, pipes, substations, and other critical infrastructures. It also covers the crew, equipment, and maintenance needed to keep services safe and reliable for our community. For electric and natural gas services, there's another factor to consider: fuel. City utility must purchase fuel to generate electricity and provide natural gas to heat homes and businesses. Those costs fluctuate based on market conditions. Additionally, CU purchases power from the wholesale market to both reduce costs and, when possible, and to meet electric demand. These costs are also incorporated into the fuel component of your utility bill. CU does not profit from fuel costs or purchase power. What we pay is what customers pay, said Falk. To help protect customers from large swings in prices, CU uses purchasing strategies such as fixed pricing contracts to purchase fuel and natural gas in volume. For natural gas, the utility buys and stores it when prices are typically lower during the summer months. Every 6 months, the utility reviews its fuel and purchase power costs through the electric fuel adjustment factor and the natural gas recovery adjustment factor. This process compares projected costs with the actual costs during the previous 6 months. If actual costs were lower than expected, customers may see a credit on their bill. If costs were higher than expected, their bill may be a small charge to recover those expenses. One bill, four services. Another important factor when comparing rates in the city utility bills, customers pay for four services: electricity, natural gas, water, and sanitary sewage. Seeing all services together on one bill can make the total seem higher, but it reflects multiple essential services combined in one place. While city utilities provides electric, natural gas, and water service, sewer rates are set by the city of Springfield. Having these services on one combined bill helps reduce extra service fees and gives customers the convenience of paying for everything in one place, said Falk. Here's the city utilities benchmarks comparison. Springfield, Missouri pays $191. Huntsville, Alabama, $197. Salt Lake City, Utah, $200. Chattanooga, Tennessee, $215. Knoxville, Tennessee, $224. Fort Wayne, Indiana, $256. Columbia, Georgia, $258. Grand Rapids, Michigan, $265. Waco, Texas, $265. Savannah, Georgia, $266. Kalamazoo, Michigan pays $268. Wichita, Texas pays $277. Columbia, South Carolina pays $284. With Evansville paying $293. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more to-update news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and the 417 magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's sub-carrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a program radio.